Another day, another glorious victory in Callahan's name. You heard me right, everyone at home. Our Wardens have officially won the war. Before our broadcast, scheduled for the 14th, we were sent a personal request by the higher-ups to hold off the broadcast, and they received news that this week a final offensive would take place, so we stayed our tongue in preparation for a juicier news story. In our Victory Edition newsletter, we have detailed everything you will hear in the following program regarding yesterday's outstanding victory. The territory change between last week on the 7th and yesterday on the 17th is a wonder to behold. So, excuse me while I provide a comprehensive and exhaustive list of our victory. The regions that we completely captured are Reaching Trail, the Moors, Stone Cradle, Callahan's Passage, Farinac Coast, the Linn of Mercy, King's Cape, the Deadlands, the Clastra, Loch Moor, the Drowned Vale, Endless Shore, Umbral Wildwood, Allod's Bite, Shackled Chasm, and Reaver's Pass. We made partial or majority gains in Westgate, Sableport, the Heartlands, Great March, Terminus, and Akritha. This leaves the colonial menace with only 4 regions to their name: Origin, Ash Fields, Red River, and Kalokai. A victory this immense in the span of merely 10 days leaves an unbreakable smile on my face. The week saw a total colonial collapse all over the front lines, which was an undeniable lead up to our victory. Our Warden infantry took back Stone Cradle, Callahan's Passage, and the Clastra in successive attacks that broke down their front line, while indomitable Warden Navy took on the Messians at Reaver's Pass to cripple their backline. This, my friends, was the cut that bled those collies dry. Now, our final casualty report of this war is 2,597,000 dead colonials at a rate of 5,650 per hour, with our Warden forces capturing 310 towns and cities in total. Now, it is with a heavy heart I must report that we have lost 2 million of our own soldiers in this war. However, they gave their lives for Callahan, and with this victory, they are avenged. Now is a good time to mention the fate of Bonehaft. Mere days after our broadcast, on the 10th of the month, a nuclear missile was dropped by the colonials in the region, obliterating Bonehaft and the surrounding facilities, along with any and all of our Warden soldiers in the area. A sad day indeed, but their sacrifice has been avenged, my friends. I tell you this. Now, as the dust settles, we must all accept the inevitable. Once again, the Caovish state and the Mecean Republic meet for a peace treaty in hopes that this war will be the last. Such hopes, as we know, are thin, but we must try nonetheless, so our children may one day feel the heat of the sun that gazes on a warless world. The treaty includes, as it always has done, the near-complete demilitarization of both parties. The hope is that a lack of military might may de-incentivize further warfare. As I'm sure all of you at home are aware, we've seen how ineffective this is, but we must have hope. We must try. The territorial changes proposed by our Archon and accepted by the Mecean Senate's Magisters Primes are as follows: Farinac Coast, King's Cage, Loch Moor, the Linn of Mercy, the Deadlands, the Drowned Vale, Marvin Hollow, the Clastra, and Endless Shore makes up the new border between our two nations. All former bordering regions, from Bazin-Sonach to Colokai, are currently undergoing major demilitarization due to their major status as backline logistics and eastern to western mining islands. The mass amount of war industry in these regions will take longer to dismantle. Now, we all have our thoughts on this. Some believe we aren't harsh enough on these peace treaties, that we won't see peace until full demilitarization and consequence from third-party states if agreement is broken by any faction. Some believe we should go harder, that we should push them all the way back and retake Veli, kicking them out of Siva for good. Personally, although my heart wants to finally be rid of the colonial menace, my mind points me towards the former. While we could theoretically see a return to the old days where we reigned over the whole of former Siva, we run the risk of running ourselves thin. Additionally, I would rather see a mutual peace than total annihilation. I want our children to grow up in a war-free world, everybody. I hope, as of this victory, we can finally achieve that. But enough of that sullen talk. This is a victory broadcast, so we need stories of Callahan's glory. We have 5 stories for you today, with the 5th being a special, extra long account of a battle that lasted almost the entire war, detailing the 25-day assault on Saltbrück, dubbed Saltingrad. But the first story is a war report by Zakin of the Warden's Indo Regiment. It details the Indo Regiment's perspective of the battlefield east of Therizo in Terminus. The following is a direct reading. On the battlefield east of Therizo, the Indo Regiment brought a battle train equipped with 4 O'Brien Warsmith and 1 Blood Tender. Before we arrived on Terminus, we already set up rail to Umbra Wildwood, but when we arrived on Deadland, the battle is already won by the Wardens. We don't have any reason again to go into the Umbra Wildwood. After some consideration, we all agreed to go to Terminus. We arrived on Terminus at 1 PM. We put down the blood tender on the back for the other medic to use. Then we prepare for pushing the front. M, a friend from Indo Regiment, God Bless, and another friend from V Regiment, Coram Dio, extended the railway on Terminus so we can fight effectively on the front line. God Bless took the initiative to set up a railway when our friendly tank columns on the south were pushing. It was a tiring process to put down the rail blueprint because the collies were shelling us with 150 and their tank column kept shooting at the already laid down railway. But slowly and surely we managed to put down just enough for the battle train to push. The train moved out to the front. In the first 30 minutes, nothing really happened, so Godbless decided to extend the railway to the hill just outside of the city. But some collies managed to slip through our battle line. But unfortunately for them, 8 40mm cannons were waiting. We hold the northern side of the field while our tank line pushes the southern side. We act as wall with guns to deter any attempts to flank. At one point of the push, there were 3 SHTs, 1 battleship, 3 RSCs, and our battle train in the region at the same time, all with one mission: to take Terminus. At one time, we managed to connect the railway to Therizo and were pushing towards the safe house. We focused all of our shots into the safe house to destroy it. We managed to destroy the SH, but it cost us all of the battle train. We knew the war was almost over, so we didn't care if the train got killed. It was glorious! Ooh, what a brilliant story that was! Now, long-time listeners know how much I love battle trains, so to receive a story from Robert's collection that details their use makes my day just that much brighter. But I hope you aren't bored of Therizo and its surrounding battles yet, because we have another account from the battle itself. This story is Capturing Therizo, a war report from Olaud of the Warden Air Force. The following is a direct reading. After Terminus was surrounded, I planned a coalition pilot gun operation to take place today. We ended up bringing the Longhook from the CADF with us, supported by one gunboat of the WAF. The gunboat arrived first and shelled a safe house in Therizo after ground forces had destroyed the coastal gun. After this, the Longhook arrived for a suicide attack. The Longhook caught them off guard and destroyed the seaport with another coastal gun. Then we rushed the gunboat towards the sea to prevent them from rebuilding. Unfortunately, the gunboat was sunk. The sudden arrival of the Longhook diverted collie attention, letting us push through in the east. The sudden overwhelming attack from two sides led to the collies losing the town hall. After some fierce fighting near the town hall, supported by many regiments, someone managed to get a CV to the town hall, and despite collie Artie shooting us, the town hall was rebuilt and Therizo was blue. The Longhook lived to see it, but was destroyed shortly after. It tanked pretty much all of the artilleries and was sunk by Hydras and Mammoths. Shortly after, the war was won. Blue, board, sky, swarm. A brilliant battle indeed. Ramming the Longhook into port was a unique strategy indeed, and I'm glad it was effective as it was. But that's not all. A member of the Winter Sun Cavalry WSC Regiment personally sent us a letter of their involvement. From what it reads, members of the WSC were on the Longhook itself, and this surviving soldier has shared their story with us. This is a direct quotation from the letter, written by B1 of the Warden's WSC. Sometime like mid-war, I thought we almost lost as the colonials pushed us up. Tip of a hat to the people who pushed them collies back. I also witnessed one of the last operations that concluded the war. I was supposed to participate, but I was drafted to another region. It was conducted using a Longhook, absolutely packed full of supplies. And we had like 20 or 30 people. The colonials were pushed back by that time, all the way back to their last, most southern regions. The operation aimed at capturing the port of Therizo as our final, last push before the colonial could mount another counter-offensive. It was one hell of a wait to cross into Terminus, but the payout was worth it. The colonials had established quite the defensive in the east against our attacking force. The plan was to take them back when they least expected, since they were at the time trying to push into Westgate and retake Acrithia. The ship struck and caught the foe completely off guard. The collies did push us back into our ship with grenades and shotguns, but we repelled them each time. The attack was so successful at diverting enemy attention away from the front, we managed to, once we pushed them back a bit, get a few tanks and an armoured train into the city and destroyed the logistics in the area. It was a true spectacle. The story ends with one final quote stating, "The collies came, they saw, and they did not conquer." That, my friend, is a beautiful encapsulation of this war. The Mecean forces marched through Seva with the intent to capture all of us, but instead left with bullet holes and blisters. Now, this story isn't of combat, but of opportunity and cunning. S. Biver of the Warden's Umbra has detailed a story from the 12th, where they conducted the Great Train Heist of War 124. The following is a direct reading. While in Terminus looking for something to do other than die in the front, I discovered a train engine being guarded by a few sergeants. When I saw them, my dream of stealing a train engine finally became a very real possibility. I quickly went to find the wrench. Took me only 15 minutes and having to cross the border before a lodgy man gave me a lift back to the front. When I arrived at the train, a 2LT named Quadsar had started moving it. We were able to move the train onto existing rails behind our gate wall. Once safe behind the wall and out of rail, we started shuffling the train engine as well as a coal car with a crane to the border without a way to cross it. While shuffling the train, the Umber Brufin deployed in Reavers. On it were 7 out of the 10 PC mats needed to build a railway to the border to cross it with the train. I left Quasder to protect the train while I hunted for the remaining 3 PC mats. I found 2 in the front BB and another from a colonial small gauge with PC mats on it. After building the track, we finally moved into Reavers after shuffling for almost 2 hours and it was safe in friendly territory. I then had to shuffle it alone for another hour or so to connect it to the mainline rail. I ended up giving it to Phalanx and 6th Regiment with the promise it will be used for the public good. Now I'm sure that train was put to brilliant use against the Colonials in the final assault that followed. Now, for the grand final of this broadcast, the documentation of the battle for Saltingrad by Esquerda of the Wardens 27th. This story is long and has been broken up into chapters. Chapter 1, Early War Days 1 to 9. During the first few days of the war, fighting was mostly limited to our outer city limits of Saltingrad, with Colonials trying to push our safe houses and we Wardens trying to push the collies out. After some initial success, we managed to take Enduring and Wellchurch at day 4. Sadly, the Colonials managed to push us back to the city limit and cross the river days later. Chapter 2, The Initial Assault, Day 9. A massive colonial operation managed to take the river city. This assault cleared the entirety of Endless and caused Warden engineers to try and finish our defences in Stilcan. Luckily, we managed to stop the colonial invasion at the city of Vulpine, and from there a long fight for the control of North Endless Shore and the city of Saltbrook, named Saltingrad, began. Chapter 3, Return to Endless, days 10 to 11. At day 10, our Warden counteroffensive managed to reclaim the relic at Seed Fall. This was the first proper foothold we managed to gain in the region since the colonial offensive from there. I remember fierce fighting on the road leading towards Saltbrook, which caused great casualties on both sides. With the help of this foothold, we managed to swing around and take Brackish, and from there reclaim the lost city of OJT at day 11. This success showed us that the colonial legions aren't invincible, and that the city was not yet lost. Chapter 4, Times of Strife, days 11 to 25. From there on, a time of uncertainty started in big parts of the region switching sides on a daily basis, which prevented both sides to take up to the northern relic and to fortify their gains. Using loads of artillery, tanks and infantry, each side kept reclaiming the town day after day with heavy losses on both sides. Chapter 5, Breaking the Brackish, day 21. North of the Saltbrook Channel is the small town of Brackish. It has a road leading directly into Saltbrook and was a major tactical importance for us Wardens. While we knew holding anything in the region will be next to impossible, this town developed into a major speed bump for the Colonials, stopping their tank lines and retaking Saltbrook for stalling them out of hours. One day, after hours of fighting, the Colonials retook the city as they did daily, but with a single base to the north of it surviving. This single base allowed us to push back south, and in the next night we managed to stop the Colonials from tapping Brackish once again, leaving even more BBs around alive, and even more importantly, showing us that we have the strength to reclaim and actually rebuild our lands in this no man's land. Finally, Chapter 6, Reclaiming Saltbrook, from days 21 to 25. This challenging part wasn't to retake the city, but to hold on to it. Once we managed to reclaim the town hall, fighting would shift towards the bridges, with heavy infantry combat, flanking attempts by swarming across the river and artillery pounding both sides for hours. Neither side of the city allowed for big build-ups, making the area into a dream for partisans. At some point we managed to take the city one final time, and with fierce resistance we managed to hold on to it, surviving the artillery, holding the bridges against their masses, guarding the river from crossing partisans. With each hour, industry tacked closer. The colonial grew more desperate to retake the city and denying our victory. Their last attempt was a huge offensive from Seed Fall. By pushing between Saltingrad and Brackish, they hoped to reclaim the victory. We quickly formed a defensive line on the road to stop their advance. In the end, a chieftain rush by the 27th managed to kill the relic and to drive the colonials out once more. The last time colonials held Saltingrad was the 25th. After a month of constant fighting, the town got captured by both sides around 36 separate times, and from there on we started our counter-offensive to avenge all of our fallen heroes who died in that hellhole. What a marvellous show of Warden grit! This battle should be a reminder to the colonials that they will never break our spirits, that we will fight one region for the entire war if we must. Siva is our home. It is the heartland of our traditions and our culture. Let us not forget, before these great wars, lands as far north as the Valley were under our collective. The Meceans are invading force, and in time we'll regain all of Siva, so it may live under the Warden banner in peace, for Callahan's honor. But for this broadcast, that is all we have time for. We would once again like to thank our friend Robert L. Games for granting us access to his collective of war stories from soldiers all around Siva. The frequency for his broadcast can be found in the weekly newsletter provided. Stay tuned, for as is life in Siva, there is always another war on the horizon.